Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful tool that businesses use to see the bigger picture. It's called the Balanced Scorecard. And really, it's all about looking past the usual profit and loss statement to figure out what really makes a company successful in the long run. All right, let's get into it. So let me just start with this question. Is profit the only thing that matters when we're talking about a company's success? For the longest time, the answer would have been a pretty confident yes. But focusing only on the financial numbers, well, it's kind of like driving a car while only staring at the gas gauge. You might have a full tank, but you could be about to drive right off a cliff. And that's exactly why in this first part, we're going beyond the bottom line. We're going to explore what the balanced scorecard actually is, where it came from, and why it was such a game changer in how companies think about strategy. So what is it really? Well, at its heart, the Balanced Scorecard, or BSC for short, is a strategic management tool. The best way to think about it is like a dashboard for the entire company. It's a super clear, visual way to check on performance and make sure that what people are doing every single day actually lines up with the company's big long-term goals. Now, this whole idea came from two guys, Doctors Robert Kaplan and David Norton. Their big insight was that just looking at financial numbers wasn't enough. It was a lagging indicator of past performance. To really build success that lasts, they argued you need a more balanced view, one that includes non-financial stuff too. And listen, this isn't some obscure theory from a textbook. The BSC is used all over the world by some of the biggest names you can think of. We're talking tech giants like Apple and IBM, auto industry leaders like Ford, and massive global corporations like ExxonMobil. They've all used this framework to help steer their ships. Okay, so how does it actually work? Well, the magic of the balanced scorecard is really in its structure. It gets you to look at your business from four totally different but totally interconnected points of view. And the real power here is seeing how they all influence each other. It creates this amazing cause and effect chain that drives the whole strategy forward. First up, we have the financial perspective. Now, just because we're adding new things to look at, it doesn't mean we're throwing out the old playbook. Financial health is still absolutely critical. This perspective answers the classic question, how do we look to our shareholders? You're still tracking things like profit margins, ROI, and sales. The key difference is seeing these numbers as the end result of doing well in the other areas. Next, we've got the customer perspective. This one asks, how do our customers see us? Because let's be real, you're not going to get those great financial results without happy customers, right? So this is all about measuring how satisfied they are, maybe through surveys, online reviews, or even tracking product returns. If you get this part right, you're already on your way to hitting those financial targets. So how do you keep customers happy? Well, that brings us to perspective number 3, internal processes. The big question here is, what internal processes do we have to be amazing at? This is where you look under the hood at your own operations. To deliver for customers, you need to be efficient and have top-notch quality. So you measure things like how much it costs to make something, how fast you can get a new product out, and how tight your quality control is.
And finally, we have learning and growth. And honestly, this is the foundation for everything else. It asks, how can we keep getting better and creating value for the future? This perspective is all about innovation and your people. You're tracking things like employee retention, how much you invest in R&D, and the flow of new ideas. Because when your people get better skills, it improves your internal processes, which makes your customers happier, and, you guessed it, that leads to better financial results. See how it's all connected?
Okay, so we get the 4 perspectives and how they all link up. But how do you actually go about creating one of these for your own organization? Let's quickly walk through the steps for building your own scorecard. It's a pretty logical 5-step process that starts from the top and works its way down. You begin with the really big picture, your vision. What do you want to be? From there, you set your main objectives. Then, you figure out the most critical things you need to do to hit those objectives. After that, you pick your KPIs, your key performance indicators, which are just the specific things you'll measure. And finally, you set concrete targets for these KPIs and create the actual projects or initiatives that'll get you there. Theory is one thing, but seeing it in action really makes it click. So let's look at a simple example of a balanced scorecard for a made-up telecom company. Okay, now this is where that cause and effect chain we've been talking about really comes to life. Just look at how this all connects and tells a story. The company's big financial goal is to grow its market share. So how do they do that? Well, they figure they need to improve customer service. And how will they improve service? By making their network more reliable.
And what's the plan for better reliability? They're going to enhance staff skills with more training. See that chain? Learning leads to better processes, which leads to happier customers, which leads to better financials. It turns the entire strategy into a single, clear story.
Of course, no management tool is a silver bullet, right? The Balanced Scorecard is incredibly powerful, but it's really important to get both its strengths and its potential pitfalls. It's a fantastic tool, but it's not a rigid rule.
The upsides are pretty clear. It's amazing for communication and getting everyone on the same page. It helps every single person in the company see how their job connects to the big picture. But, and this is a big but, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. You have to tailor it, you absolutely need your leaders to believe in it, and you have to be careful it doesn't get way too complicated. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway here. The BSC gives you this fantastic framework, but its real strength is its flexibility. You can't just download a template and expect it to work miracles. It has to be carefully, thoughtfully adapted to the unique strategy and needs of every single business. So, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked about this as a tool for big companies, but what if you applied this same way of thinking to your own life? Forget business for a second. What would a balanced scorecard for your career or your personal goals look like? What would you measure to know you're succeeding, not just financially, but in all the areas that truly matter? Something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me.